So, yeah, I decided to join on this trend. I'm pretty sure you've all seen this trend on YouTube. You analyze a scene of a villain that left an impact and shows the magnum opus of the character. Just like anything trendy, it can get a little bit annoying, but let's face it, we all love our villains. Some of them are funny, some of them are scary, all of it's great. But do these characters have to be villains? If every story is a hero of it, then someone has to be the villain. But what if they didn't want to be the villain? Well, an answer to that question can be found in one of the three big Cartoon Network shows of the 2010s, at least in my opinion, but it's not Adventure Time, a regular show. It's Gumball. You may be thinking, wait, are we talking about the same show over here? Possibly the most childish looking of these three. Yes, just like Adventure Time and regular show, Gumball has shown mature themes over its years. But it definitely didn't start out that way. Its first season was pretty much your average kid show. But as the seasons progressed, it became more funnier and tackled some mature themes here and there and had a very dark sense of humor, breaking the fourth wall here and there. It's basically become my favorite Cartoon Network show and one of my favorite cartoons of all time. It mainly started with season 3, which is my personal favorite of the seasons. It had an episode where it showed that sometimes life isn't always safe, and popular in the fandom was the episode that not only developed an important supporting character throughout the previous 2 seasons and showed how to never be afraid of your true self, but this season's biggest impact on the show was introducing the Void. And place where all of the mistakes the world has made. And considering this show's fourth wall-breaking lore, there's definitely a character that appeared earlier but was forgotten and sent to there. And that was what the episode was about, but not the character this video is about. It's definitely not about Molly, that elephant that tells boring stories, but it was a character that was in the background. A Cyclops by the name of Rob. Even after this episode, Rob was just a character that was a forgotten background character for season 1 and was jokingly used in season 2 as a character that Gumball and Darwin forgot who he even was. And it was just one single episode where it was prominent and the other was a bit of a background nod. But then, we get to the episode known as The Nobody. The premise is that Gumball and Darwin are blamed for stuff around the home that they didn't do, and they figure out that someone is living with them. Eventually, they find a glitchy being in a basement that they didn't even notice was in the house. After a chase after him, this figure says that he's nobody and that he can't remember anything. After thinking about which cool role this being Gumball and Darwin thought they'd just met, they thought of making him a bad guy. This is when Rob's importance in the entire series begins. We get flashbacks to the Void episode where he tries to call for them but they don't hear him and try to save Molly. But he clings onto the van they're trying to escape on, who's literally named Janice, and escape. But Rob is left looking like the glitchy being he is now. After that, he vows to become Gumball and Darwin's worst nightmare, their nemesis, that he will destroy everyone they love in this show's villain. In contrast to the other 3 Cartoon Network 2010 shows, Adventure Time and regular show had some reacquiring villains here and there, but Gumball had none up until this episode. Throughout season 4, Rob is mostly this cartoonish-esque villain, with one episode having him becoming that Saturday morning cartoonish villain, and an episode with a twist at the end that he was behind everything. But by this point you might be asking, where is the villainous scene? Well, we're not too far from it, as it's the final episode of Season 4 and part 1 of a 2-parter that ends Season 4 and begins Season 5. The disaster in the rerun, however, the one villainous scene is in. This episode is one of the best and one of the darkest of the entire show, and actually felt like a finale to the show in general, except it wasn't. The beginning is the characters literally singing the end credits song. The basic plot is that Rob finds a universal remote that allows him to change reality, but then accidentally hits the backwards button where he discovers that he is on a TV show and looks into the past, seeing how Rob became the villain to be. After all of this, he tries to make Gumball as miserable as humanly possible. He uses the remote to crush a bunch of cars into the Waterson's car, which causes Gumball to get yelled at by his mother Nicole, but it's only going to get much, much worse from here. Rob then uses the remote caption button to make Darwin think he's being mean to him, which causes him to run away, already putting Gumball in a state of emotional distress. Gumball and Darwin have been pals since the beginning and are the main characters of the entire show, so we are at a moment where Gumball has lost someone that was close to him, and that isn't even the most shocking part of the episode. After Rob uses the remote some more, Gumball's parents Richard and the aforementioned Nicole get into an argument and they get divorced right in front of Gumball and Annius. They try to chase after them, but Rob uses the remote to darken the place and Gumball bumps in. When the lights come back on, he is accidentally on the supporting character Sarah, which his girlfriend Penny sees. After Rob uses the remote a bit more, Penny runs away in tears. What makes the moment special and is in contrast with the other Renaissance Cartoon Network shows' protagonists. Both Finn and Mordecai's relationship and love interests always switched from one girl to another, but Gumball has had the most healthy love life of the three, and he's the youngest of them. Gumball had never gone into a breakup with Penny, even when it was at its closest. It wasn't for sure, and after their relationship looked like it was in jeopardy, they were back together again. Gumball tries to run to Penny, but Rob uses the spit up button, causing Gumball to accidentally push Penny off the mall floor, seemingly sending her to her death. Darwin just ran away, Annius was missing, and Nicole and Richard just broke up, but Penny looked like she was in danger of death. But then Rob pushes the pause button, with only other being unpaused other than him is Gumball. After Gumball looks around in confusion and sadness, Rob comes up to him. Gumball asks, "How have you done this?" and Rob's speech says that he blames him for his role in the show and goes on to say,
"You being the hero of all this means that I have to be the villain. But I never wanted to be the villain. I wanted to be the cute sidekick who gets his own plush toy in a spin-off show."
What are you talking about?
You really don't get it, do you? So happy to star in your amazing world. Can't you see that none of this is real?
Rob almost destroyed Gumball's life because he learned he was the hero of this, and he was almost forgotten, and when he wasn't, he was either a joke or the villain. He didn't ask for any of this, and that's what makes Rob such a cool character to me. To have him be a forgettable side character to the main villain with fourth wall shattering lore is what I love the most about him. His motivation is one of the most creative in cartoon history, and at least in my opinion, in media in general. He never even asked to be this way, but he didn't want to be a nobody cause nobody even remembered who he even is. He doesn't want power or money, he just wants to destroy Gumball, the main character. He simply hates the main character because he literally is the main character. Not only did my love for Gumball inspired me to make this video along with other video analysis, but I feel like a villain like this deserves an analysis video of their own. I could go more on about the character and his future role in the series, as well as my hype for the Gumball movie, which they might play a huge role in, but I feel like I've talked about enough. This is probably the biggest thing I've done in the history of my channel so far, but I hope to do something way bigger, but I feel like this would be a good start, a big one video if you will. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you around.